All right. Well, thanks you guys for coming on. And if anybody else pops on later, then we will see them as they hop on. I love Zoom because I love it's like the Brady Bunch. If you haven't done it before, you can kind of look up and down and see everybody, which is fun. Except for Kim, who is blanking herself out. She's putting her kids to bed. So, which is great because we're talking about balance, and that comes into play when you got little kids, right? So, okay, so where did this whole thing come from of why did I decide to do this? I guess as I was looking at 2020, it kicked off, and I think I posted something on Facebook the other day, something about our sermon was like people were already dreading 2020. It's already been, so terrible for them. So it got me thinking about all the people that feel out of balance and they just want to hit a reset button once the new year begins. So as the year goes on, it's like by the time December comes, everyone's completely out of balance and they think this new year is going to get everything started. They set new big goals. They have this burning desire for change in their lives for the better, but then again, it starts to fade and fade and fade. So I thought, you know what? Why not invite some of my friends to hear about what I think are keys in finding a balanced life? And trust me, I'm no expert, so I can only tell you what I know. So let's look at the word balance. All right, so we hear this term a lot. It's kind of a big buzzword, right? So when I first think of the word balance, I think of science class when you're a kid and you have that little scale, it had like the chains and little red baskets at the bottom. And we put different things on each side. So if you were off by something as small as grains of salt or even those little Unifix cubes, your balance is off, right? So you had to work to take something out of one side and add it to the other to get your life back in balance. So how does that balance scale compare to our lives? Well, it'd be really nice to know if a balanced life was just as easy as having these two buckets we had to fill, right? Juggling two things at once. I sure wish that's how easy it was. In this day and age, you guys, we are pulled in so many different directions. I feel we have about 10 buckets minimum that we're trying to balance, right? If you think for a minute, and you can comment in the chat down below, like think of one of the buckets that you focus on in a day. I'll give you some of my suggestions. What do you guys think of? You can just type at the bottom if you want or over on the side. What do you think of when you think of the different things that you're trying to balance throughout the day? Some of the things I think of are, I'm trying to juggle being a mom, a wife, maybe you're a grandparent, kids, your house stuff. You're trying to balance figuring out schedules, your travel, your budgets, your volunteer work, your extracurriculars, your church. There's just so many things that we're trying to balance. Life is busy. It's really busy, and we have so many buckets to fill. We are literally living in the time of the single busiest woman. Women have never been as busy as we are. So how do we find balance as this busy person? Okay, so I think we need to understand the word balance first. So by definition, it means a condition in which different elements are equal or in correct proportions. So like for me to break it down, what I think, it means you have a handle on different things in your life that you don't feel your heart or mind are being pulled too hard in any one direction. So more than that, you typically feel calm, grounded, clear-headed, motivated, and passionate. So wow, doesn't that sound amazing, right? So let me say it again. You have a handle on different parts of your life so you don't feel your heart and mind are pulled too hard in any one direction. So by doing this, you more often than not feel calm, grounded, clear-headed, motivated, and passionate. Okay, so who has that more than they don't? Is that like a perfect utopia? All right, so that's our perfect world. That's what we're striving for, right? So how do we achieve it? So I have 3 things I'm going to tell you today that I think help bring balance to your life. So the first thing I think is time, giving yourself time for yourself, me time. So it's so important in all the chaos that you take me time. Who here, does something just for them? So again, you can type in the little comment chat box at the bottom. Oh, I see, Kim, you typed in from before. Your roles are kids, house, hold crap, jobs, and gymnastics. All right, so what do you do for me? What do you guys do just for yourself you're not doing it for anybody else but you? some things I think of, I mean, it could be vacationing. Oh, exercise. Oh, good. That's mine too, Mel. Vacationing, exercising, shopping, eating, hanging out with friends, writing, playing games. Uh, so for me personally, as Mel said, mine is exercising. That is something that's just, I've always found this to be important for my me time. Whether it's running, lifting weights, yoga, fitness class, I have always found time in my life to fit this in. Now, it was much more difficult when my kids were little. The time allowed back then might have been shorter. It might not have been as often, maybe 3 days a week. Then I went through a phase where my kids were school age, and I could do it probably more often, but other activities kind of trumped it. So I always had intention to do it, but if a volunteer job came up, or a friend wanted to go do something, it was during the time I would have worked out, I would allow that to trump my working out, as long as I was doing it pretty regularly. So I would just have to juggle or squeeze it in somewhere else. So I did put a higher value on other tasks at that time over exercising, which was my me time. So I would have my me time, but it may not be every single day. So although it was still a priority and I got it done, it wasn't always easy. And I wasn't always super consistent with it. Well, I look at my life now I'm at the point, my kids are older, 16 and 18. So I won't give it up for appointments, lunch dates, work. I mean, almost nothing. I schedule everything around it. It's basically become my non-negotiable. I mean, exercise to me is something that I can control and it makes me feel good. But I will say over time, my focus of my me time has changed as well. So you may have different things you get out of your me time. Now my me time, I love doing hot yoga because my mind can't wander. There's no instructor in front showing us what to do. She verbally teaches us, then leaves us for 2 or 3 songs. Well, we have to remember this long sequence she gave us. I think of my daughter often learning her dance moves. If my mind thinks on anything, I have to call my son after this, it's gone. I lost what I'm supposed to do, and it's really hard for me to get it back. So it's the 1 hour a day that I can't have stress because it's all just on my body and what I'm doing. So when my kids were little and I had my me time, I would go out and I'd run. Well, my mind wandered. I made checklists in my head. If I fought with my husband, I'm running through the conversation in my head. Sometimes I'd even run angry and I'm going through it. I would analyze my life. It didn't matter, but I didn't have anyone pulling on me. Me time back then was, I didn't care if my mind was thinking about busyness, but I didn't have kids pulling on me. So that gave me what I needed. Now I don't have kids pulling on me. So what I need now is to get all the thoughts out of my head, because I have all day that I can be thinking about things and I don't have the tugging and pulling anymore. So let me ask you this. What do you want from your me time? What gives you energy? What relaxes you? What brings you back to a place of calm and ready to take on the day where you can collect your thoughts and be back to you again? So your me time should be that moment that helps you get back to the best version of yourself within your busy day. So whether it's a bubble bath, I mean, we know Kim has littler kids, so hers literally could be, I remember if I left and got a haircut, that was my me time because it was away from my kids. It was that special time that it was just about me. It could have been going to the grocery store without a kid in the cart. So definitely your me time and what you want out of it changes. Now my me time would not be going to the grocery store. I hate going to the grocery store. So my me time at this phase of my life is to clear my mind to be 100% focused on really nothing. I'm not focusing on anything but what's making my body feel good. All right. So my second tip, you guys. So first is me time. Second is to have a plan. It's easy to say you want to do things, but it's another thing to actually do them. We all know that, right? You write a goal and you never follow through. So if you have a plan, especially if you're a mom of young kids, I mean, you need to have something in your day to plan. It might be even showering is a big deal for you because your kids are all over. But you got to have it in your plan. You got to know today's a shower day. Today's the day I can actually wash and blow dry my hair because my husband's staying home longer. Life is crazy and it gets out of control. But if you don't have a plan, or at least start off with a plan, you don't have anything to change or adjust. It's way easier to adjust a plan and make things up as you go than I guess it's easier to have that plan and make adjustments than completely making it up as you go and just randomly coming up with what you're going to do for the day. Because the chances of getting some of these things done that help you find balance are slim. I like the quote that says, a good day today is better than the perfect plan tomorrow. So make it a list of just some good stuff to do. It's not going to be perfect, and we know it's not going to be perfect. Even now I'm home alone most of the day. I still don't get everything done that I'd like to in a day. Typically, things happen. I get a phone call. I need to bring Advil to the high school. You still get called even when your kids are older. But at least I start with something. And of those things, there's things in that list that are going to help me find balance, things about me. So how many of you guys, I'm a big bath girl. How many of you guys like to make a plan? I'm a total list person. So I love lists. If it's written on a list, I'm going to get it done. I love circles near it. I cross off the circles. It gives me a huge amount of satisfaction. I mean, if it's not on my list and I do it, I will literally add it to my list just so I can cross it off because it gives me that much satisfaction to cross things off my list. So, back years ago before I had kids, I was a teacher. So I would put run on my list because I couldn't do it before work. There was no way. There's no way I was getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning. So I had to do it after work. But I'll tell you the motivation it takes for me to work out at 4 or 5 after dealing with little kids all day. If I did not have it on my list, 100% guarantee it was not going to happen. I would not just say, oh, I'm going to go work out. Absolutely not. It had to be on that list. It just wasn't something that I would just add in. I make too big of a list. Yeah. And you can make a big list. That's okay. As long as you make a deal with yourself that how many times are you going to carry over the things you aren't going to do? Or are you going to have the ongoing list? That's okay. But the daily list, are you going to allow 2 things that can get put on the next day and they're the first ones done? So just don't allow too many to carry over or that list soon, becomes not as important, I guess. So the one thing like with making a plan is things are going to change and you can adjust it. But again, if you don't start off with stuff on there, if I have to change it, I always go back to my running thing. If I didn't have running on my list and I didn't do it, I didn't have any guilt, whatever. It wasn't on my list to do. But if I couldn't do it and it was on my list, I had a nagging feeling that, I got to move it to the next day. And it was so important for me to have that me time. I had to put it in the next day because if you go too many days without it, then that's again where you're going to find yourself off balance. So I love this analogy. I don't know if you guys have heard this story before. It's super good. So it's a story about a big game prize. So your prize winnings are in the form of a daily deposit in your bank account. Each morning your bank gives you $86,400 in your private account for your use. However, it has rules. Everything you don't spend during each day is taken away from you. You can't transfer the money into another account. You can only spend it. So every morning upon awakening, your bank opens, you have $86,400 for the day. But that bank can end the game without any warning. At any time they can say game over, close the account, and you don't ever get a new one. So what would you do? What would your plan of action be if you got $86,400 every day? You'd probably buy everything you could, right? There would be no wanting, not just for yourself, but every person you know. You're paying for every lunch, everything, every vacation for everybody. You would just be doing everything, right? Because you couldn't even spend all that money on yourself. I don't know how you would. Even if you're buying houses, you'd be buying multiple houses every single day. But you would try to spend every single penny and use it all, right? If you have it, why wouldn't you spend it? If you know you'll get more in the morning, maybe, unless the game shuts down. So think of this game as real, you guys. This is a real game, but every winner, instead of the money, the prize is time. Because each morning we wake up, we receive 86,400 seconds as a gift of life. So when we go to sleep at night, any remaining time doesn't get credited to us, right? We do nothing with our whole day. All that time is gone. It's lost forever. So any seconds you're wasting, they're gone. You're not getting them back. Yesterday is gone forever. So again, you're going to make the most use out of your time and have a plan. So the lesson and the moral, right, is to make a plan with your day. Let it get out of whack. Let it get behind, but at least start with a plan to get as much as you can out of your day, because you can't replace that day. When it's gone, it's gone. I just love that. All right. My third and most important thing that I feel, if you want to have a life of balance, you know, most people go through every day doing things for other people, their bosses, their husbands, their kids, their friends, their relatives, and they call themselves balanced because they've done a bunch of tasks in many categories for many different people. So to them, that's what balance would be, is all those different things. But then at the end of the day, they have not done anything of all those things that were for themselves. So they haven't found the balance between doing for others and doing for themselves. So what they're doing really is just kind of routine things that don't bring them joy, and they're just checking them off the list. So if you notice, I haven't taught you guys anything new that you do not know. None of these are like three. If you were looking for like this whole new concept, it's nothing new, but you know everything we've talked about. So let me ask you this question. Do you think a woman who has no passion, purpose, or dreams makes a good wife, mom, co-worker? Do you think she would make, if she has no passion or purpose, would she be good in those roles? So my third tip to you guys to live a life of balance, balance with being you know, with your family, being a wife, being a mom, being a boss, being an organizer, being a scheduler. You need to balance it with your purpose and passion and dreams. So let me ask you this. Is there anyone on this call that when you were 5 years old, you dreamed of being the first average woman? Is that what you wanted to be when you grew up, the first average woman? Or did you dream of being a doctor or a CEO of a company, a prima ballerina, first female president of the United States? We could still have kids dreaming that, right? We dreamed big, right? Kids have big dreams, but then adulthood comes in and kicks our dreams right out of the way. But when you take the dream away, you kind of take your soul away. We become robots who wake up, we fix breakfast, we pack lunches, we get kids off to school. Most people go to a job that they don't even like. So eventually the only thing they have to look forward to at the end of the day, their me time might just be just that bubble bath. And there was nothing else in that day that gave them satisfaction or gave them purpose. So we've all heard the expression of living a dream. So should this be something only select lucky people are able to achieve? Because I don't think so. I think this should be something that we all strive for. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she has a lot of things on her plate. She has many volunteer jobs that hold a lot of responsibility, a part-time job, 3 young kids. She's a wife, and she's stressed out and not enjoying any of the things she's doing. So in our conversation, she mentioned she was going to go work out. And she's been trying to lose weight and feeling good. And I said, well, at least you get to do something that makes you feel good. And she said, you know, honestly, it's just another thing to take off the list. So her life has gotten so out of balance that even her me time of exercising, and she was so into this weight loss and exercising, is just another thing to check off. There's no passion or purpose behind it anymore because there's so much stress and all the other things that are pulling her in every direction. So all she does is get through her day by taking things off one by one. And that is not a way to live, you guys, but it's so common that people just take the things off their list. So my challenge to you would be to find something you're passionate about. Figure out what that is. For the last 2.5 years, I've been building a team of women to help them with their passion, to help them follow their dreams. So 2.5 years ago, when I signed up with Color Street, I was at that point in my life. I was lacking passion. My kids were older. They didn't need me. What was I going to do? You know, I had graduated college with a teaching degree. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I was born to be a teacher. I babysat. Actually, Mel on the phone call, her dad is the one that, you know, helped me discover that at a young age of why in the world are you not looking at teaching? Everything about you is about kids. And it was like, I realized, you're right. I played school in the basement with these old-fashioned desks at my house. I loved assigning homework and marking things wrong. I had worksheet after worksheet. My sister and I loved school. It's what I was supposed to do. Oh, there's a comment. It's what I was supposed to do. And so, you know, I became a teacher, right? I got pregnant and then I decided to stop. It was everything I wanted to do, but then I wanted to be home with my kids. So I loved it. I stayed home for 14 years. It was the best decision I made. I loved that. I found passion and purpose in all the things I did. I volunteered as a Girl Scout leader, a substitute teacher, a youth club leader, Sunday school teacher. I mean, you name it, pretty much I did it. I ran the talent show. I set up all of the guest speakers at their school. I did it all. But then they came to an end, and where was I? They need about one volunteer job a year in a middle school, none in the high school. Now I could, although I found passion in these jobs, I could go back to the elementary school and still do them there. But the reason I found passion is because they had to do with my own kids. I don't want to do them for the other people's kids. Sorry, other people's kids, but it was about me and my family and my kids and staying connected with them. So now what? My husband wasn't retiring anytime soon. So I really felt my purpose was gone, which led to my balance being off. Yes, I could go work out. I could go to lunch with friends, but I needed more than that. I needed more than just that me time that was solely for me, you know, and getting together with friends. So I knew there had to be something better. I was scared to death to go back into the working world. You know, life's totally different as a volunteer. You just don't feel as, that obligation is just different. So when Color Street was offered to me, I was nervous and hesitant to get in. Could I do this? Would I like it? Do I have the skills it takes? I'm not a salesperson. I'm a teacher and a mom. Am I brave enough to try something new? Well, fast forward a couple years, and I can tell you the type of life that it has given myself and my family. It's allowed me to work with and train other women to pursue their dreams. It's taken my family on trips to Walt Disney, Iceland, Switzerland, Japan, California, to name a few. I paid for my son's first year at Michigan State, and landscaping and a graduation party and a hot tub and furniture and carpet and lots of more things like that. But most importantly, it's given me purpose. Purpose to motivate, purpose to teach others, purpose to give extras to our family that we might not have been able to do living on one income for 15 years. And purpose to who I am, which is still a teacher at heart. I just took a different path to do it. So, oh, I'm seeing comments here, hang on. Yeah, someone says that someone had a conversation with them about, hi, obviously, I totally forgot about that conversation with Spence. Oh, with your dad, I know, right? I loved that conversation. I remember it clear as day. We were in the sunroom, that sunroom at your house, Mel. So if you guys are interested in something like I'm doing, where you can have both passion and purpose and get paid for this life of freedom to do all the things you talked about with exercise and travel and nights out with friends and activities and family. And I know that can seem hard to picture because you just may not have time for that. Or maybe you do have the time for that kind of stuff, but you don't have the money for it. But what if I could introduce you to an opportunity that could give you both, could fill your purpose, and it could give you the time and money to help you in other areas of your life that are out of balance. So some of you say, my passion is not tied up in work, anything about work. However, sometimes your passion requires money, a skill set, and confidence that you can get out of a job or at work. So I'm going to post a link. If you are interested, I'm going to post it in the chat here. If you want to take the time to hear about if the Color Street opportunity is right for you, absolutely, I would love to talk to you. And if you are not interested, that is totally okay. I want you to figure out what your passion and dream is. Maybe it's to be a singer. Then I want you to take lessons. I know Mel's opening up her own remote physical therapy business. I mean, what an amazing accomplishment she's doing right now. So clearly that is her passion. Then I say you jump in with full force. You take the classes you need. You take the business lessons you need for that. Maybe your dream is to get healthier. Then start to exercise. Join eating healthy groups. Maybe it's to travel. Then go exploring. Take those trips. Maybe it's crafting. Then take a class. Public speaking. Start with a space like this. I love talking like this to groups of people. Start with a place like this, and who knows where it could go for you. But whatever your passion is, you guys, you've got to invest and chase it with all of your heart. Invest in yourself to find your purpose and balance. Because don't you feel that you're worth that? So I just want to say, I just want you to be able to say one day that you live a life with as much passion, purpose, and confidence as I've been living the past couple years. My husband has a couple different mottos he lives by, and I've always kind of laughed, but they are very, very true. And one is live the life to the fullest. He always believes in that. He is part of this group of where they contribute back to people who are ill. Well, people who are I can't think of the word. Not chronic, but what's the word? Terminal. And they get to be in the front row of something. So their symbol is like this, number one. So when we go places, my husband will always have our family do this to remember to live life to the fullest, to live life like you're living in the front row of something. And then his other favorite quote is to suck all the marrow out of life, which I love too. So when you do things, do them with everything you got. So again, if you are interested in hearing more about Color Street and joining my team, I'm going to let me see if I can find this. I have a form you can fill out and I'll get back with you. And if you are not, I want you to stay in touch with me. I just started this group of women building women that I feel as women, we need to be connected with each other. We need to help each other find our purposes. We need to cheer on our purposes and our passions. So in that group, I am going on and I'm going to be putting in all the things I'm passionate about. And even within, it's been around for less than a week, I'm watching women connect with each other and talk with each other from different walks of my life. They're putting things together and they're getting answers from each other. And to me, that helps us as women, again, find our purpose of what we need to do. So one more time, our three things that we're focusing on are you're finding me time, you're making a plan, and you're finding something that gives you passion and purpose. Very different from your me time. Your bath is not your passion and purpose. It's your me time, but it's not what's bringing you passion and purpose. So those are your three things I want you guys to focus on. That's your homework. And let me be your cheerleader. Let me come alongside you and walk with you as you find what you need to fulfill who you are. So, suck all the marrow out of life. Is that what you were just dictating, Mel? So thanks you guys so much for being on. I don't know if you guys have any comments now, if you want to unmute yourselves, anything you want to say or add. You're an absolutely awesome salesperson now. I consider myself a shares person, not a salesperson. I'm here to share what I have. And that's what I feel like I do, as opposed to selling. I feel like I share it. I share my product. I share what I've learned. I share my passion. So that's how I kind of look at myself. So do you guys have anything you guys want to add? Anything you're going to go out and jump on and do now to find some passion? And Mel, you got major purpose you're working on right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, I didn't realize I fixed the microphone.
Yeah.
So I don't have to type it.
No, you can just talk to me.
Okay, so I don't know if other people can hear me. Look, Isn't it nice how little I know about technology and I'm starting it?
Right?
You write down your list every day.
Every day when I first
I just struggle with how to do my list. I put it on my phone, I put it in my calendar, I write it down. I just feel like I'm willy-nilly with where my list is.
I have a notebook and it goes in my notebook. So I may start it the night before, but I definitely go over it that morning of all the things I'm going to do. Yeah, I have to. And I keep it by my bedside because that tends to be hard for me. When I get in bed, I start thinking and my brain goes. So if I can put it on paper, then I'm fine because I don't keep my phone by my bedside anymore so I can sleep better. And so I can't just grab my phone right there. I would have to get out of bed to go put it in my phone. So
good.
You can do it, Mel. You can start lists.
That's the thing. I have too many and I don't have a good system.
Well, you got to put it in a, like, I'm a I'm a old school binder person. I love binder or notebooks.
Right.
And so I just write, or you can just buy like the dollar store pad. But what I find with those is sometimes then it rips off and then I lose it. And
Right. I
so,
put it in my calendar, but yeah, when I'm in bed, I don't have that.
right.
And
Well, you can
I'm
put,
reading on my iPad, but I don't have my iPad's so old. As you can see, I barely know how to work it when I'm trying to talk to you. So
we can't see your iPad though. We only see you.
I know, but I was
You can
having
put your
problems.
calendar by your bed though,
I could. That's true.
and then just
Good.
add anything you think of at night. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why does it
Yeah.
have to stay in my home office?
Because if you don't get the thought off your mind, you're not going to be able to sleep.
Right.
So you've got to write it down. Otherwise, that's why if I have that phone near me, even though I have it on mute, I just sleep differently. So that's when I started moving that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I keep my phone in my purse at night.
yeah, and technically you're not supposed to be on any technology at least 30 to 60 minutes before you want to go to bed because your mind is racing.
Right. But I started reading on an iPad. So then it's there
Oh,
and all the little
yeah.
thing you can always switch to a
And
different.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is true. So yeah, I mean, there's no perfect answer, and trust me, I'm not perfect at. I always strive for all of this at any given time, but I'm doing the best that I can. That's why I think if we all help each other, then we'll all strive for it together and build each other up to be the best versions of ourselves.
Right. Oh, you're so awesome. But I was texting my dad. I didn't realize you could still, because I took myself off the camera, that you could still see. But I told him that you were telling a story about him.
Oh,
He
that's
said,
cute.
he said, I guess I had some momentary importance. Ha ha
That's
ha.
cute. That's really cute. Yep. Tell him he was a big factor in choosing my career and who I was. So, well, thanks, you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on, and I hope that you guys are ready now for 2020 to get balanced and find that perfect thing that makes you tick. All right. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.
Bye, Deb.
Bye.